What if the air you were breathing wasn't just air, but something insidious, something unnatural, something carried by an unknown evil source, moving invisibly through the walls, traveling silently through cracks and vents, reaching your home unseen, unfelt, until it struck? What if that faint, sharp, chemical-laced smell wasn't a fluke, not faulty ventilation, not aging plumbing, not a leftover whiff of bleach or paint thinner, but instead something calculated, deliberate, something carefully designed to harm you and your family, something with intent behind its silence and sting, hidden in the very place where you're supposed to feel the safest, your own home, your sanctuary? This story is absolutely chilling, and you need to listen closely, because what happened to one family could just as easily happen to anyone, at any time, with no warning and no clear sign, until the damage begins, until the symptoms take root, until the fear sets in. Because in Tampa, Florida, a young family lived through this exact nightmare, a quiet horror that unfolded behind closed doors. Umar, an administrator at the University of South Florida, had just moved into a new condominium unit with his wife Samira and their 10-month-old daughter, a family stepping into a new chapter, juggling the chaos and joy of new parenthood, sleepless nights, soft blankets, scattered toys, bottles on countertops, never expecting the dread that would creep in through the seams of their new home. Soon after settling in, they began to notice a strange, sharp, chemical odor that seemed to appear at odd times, unpredictable, yet increasingly intrusive, an acrid presence that clung to the air and burned the senses, first faint, then lingering, then stronger, until it became impossible to ignore, until it brought more than discomfort. It brought symptoms. Their eyes burned, their throats stung, dizziness followed, nausea rolled through them. Samira developed splitting headaches that wouldn't go away, and skin irritation that worsened by the day. And then, shockingly, her hair began to fall out in thick clumps, shedding onto pillows and pooling in the shower drain, while their infant daughter began vomiting uncontrollably, crying through the night, refusing to eat, her small body reacting to something unseen and unknown. Frantic and confused, Umar searched for answers, calling in HVAC specialists to test air circulation, checking for mold and hidden moisture, speaking with the building manager, requesting inspections from fire officials to detect possible gas leaks or contamination. But each time, the results were the same: clean, normal, no trace of mechanical or environmental failure, no gas, no mold, no chemicals. Yet the symptoms grew worse, and the smell returned in waves, not constant, but rhythmic, like someone was orchestrating its appearance, like the episodes were being timed and delivered. The family began logging the occurrences, matching symptoms with time of day, noticing patterns, and the fear deepened, the sense that this wasn't random, that it wasn't environmental, that it was intentional. Still, they doubted themselves, questioned their sanity, because what else could they do when all logic failed? But one day, a friend stopped by while the family was out to retrieve a package left at their door, and as soon as he approached the apartment, he was hit by the same sharp, unmistakable odor, this time confirmed by someone outside the home, an external witness validating their fears. This was the moment things shifted, the moment Umar and Samira could no longer ignore the possibility of foul play, and they began reviewing everything: patterns of smell, symptoms, interactions with neighbors. And one individual stood out: the man who lived directly upstairs, a neighbor who had complained repeatedly, obsessively, not about wild parties or loud music, but about small daily sounds, footsteps, a child's toy dropping, a cabinet closing, the toilet flushing, ambient sounds of life that echoed faintly between floors, but which he treated like offenses. He had written notes, contacted the Homeowners Association multiple times, logged complaints that seemed trivial but were constant, and though his tone was restrained, there was a tension beneath it, a frustration that seemed out of proportion. Umar grew suspicious, and in a final attempt to get answers, why this smell keep appearing? What's its nature? From where it's coming from? And who is the responsible for this? Umar decided to plant a small hidden camera in a flower pot near the front door, facing the hallway, running continuously without alerting anyone. And for a few days, nothing happened, until the footage revealed a chilling scene that would change everything. A man appeared on camera, crouched at the door, wearing gloves, holding his breath, carefully inserting a syringe through the narrow space beneath the entrance and injecting a clear liquid into the apartment, then rising and walking away in complete silence, as if he had done this before, as if this was part of a routine. No hesitation, no rush, only calm execution. When Umar and Samira reviewed the footage, they were stunned, horrified, sickened, realizing that they weren't imagining anything. They were, in fact, being poisoned. They immediately turned the footage over to the Tampa Police Department, who launched a criminal investigation, and within days, hazmat teams arrived to take samples, swabbing the doorway, examining residue, testing for volatile chemicals, and the results were terrifying. Methadone and hydrocodone, powerful opioids used in medical pain treatment and opioid replacement therapy, both Schedule II controlled substances, now found at the scene, at the doorway, deliberately applied to be inhaled or absorbed through ambient exposure. One responding officer even developed skin irritation from exposure to the chemical residue, confirming the danger. This wasn't just malicious, it was criminal, premeditated, and carried out by someone with specific knowledge. And the shock deepened when police identified the man in the footage as Xiuming Li, a 36-year-old chemistry PhD student enrolled at the University of South Florida, the same university where Umar worked, revealing that the alleged attacker was not only the upstairs neighbor, but someone with deep chemical knowledge, someone trained in solvents, compounds, volatile agents, and laboratory protocol, someone who knew exactly how to use, mix, and deploy toxic substances in a way that would avoid easy detection while causing maximum harm. Li was arrested on June 27, 2023, and charged with multiple felonies including 4 counts of battery, aggravated stalking, possession of a controlled substance, burglary of an occupied dwelling, and even battery on a law enforcement officer. He pleaded not guilty and, shockingly, was released shortly after on a bail of just $5,750, sparking outrage and concern from the community. The University of South Florida confirmed that he was no longer enrolled by summer. His student visa was revoked, and he was later detained by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. By the end of 2023, before the criminal trial could proceed, Li was deported to China. Meanwhile, the Condominium Association took action to evict him and later filed a lawsuit citing endangerment to residents and property. Toxicology experts who reviewed the case speculated that Li had used a lab-grade solvent, possibly chloroform or similar, to dissolve and aerosolize the drugs, increasing the likelihood that they would be inhaled by the family, explaining the rapid onset of symptoms and the strong, bitter odor that returned in intervals, an advanced method requiring scientific understanding and access to substances not easily available to the general public. As for the Umar family, they remain haunted by the experience. Umar has said that loud noises in the home now cause panic and hypervigilance. Samira continues to battle lingering symptoms, and their child is undergoing evaluations to monitor for potential long-term effects from repeated exposure to airborne narcotics. What was supposed to be a peaceful start in a new home became a hidden battlefield, not marked by obvious danger, but by slow, methodical chemical attacks in the very air they breathed. The true horror wasn't a violent break-in or confrontation, but the quiet, calculated poisoning by someone they barely knew, someone living just feet away, who used science and silence as weapons, who exploited the very walls and air to carry out a plan of harm. And it all started with something most people would ignore, a strange smell at the door, subtle and easy to dismiss, until a hidden camera captured a syringe and exposed the terrifying truth that the enemy was real, that the threat lived upstairs, and that the air in their home had become a vector for fear.